Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. Hello, fish. I hope you're doing well. I saw that you got your empowered spine snap. That's incredible. I looked at the server history, and it looks like you sacrificed around 52 or something like that, like 54 spine snaps. It's insane. Talk about an item sink. I'm surprised that you kept at it, to be honest. That's some incredible diligence. So today we're going to be working on some kind of World Serpent debugging stuff. All right. I won't explain too much because mostly I want to work on this, not so much teach about it. But I figured I'd show like the debugging process because I have some problems I need to deal with. So essentially, okay, basically there's a system, right, that allows the player to teleport along the World Serpent, right? In order to do that, I have to ensure that the World Serpent gets kind of labeled in the right way. Does that make sense? Like when it's in a certain place, it has to get a label so it knows, okay, that's in the north, that's in the south, etc., etc. Ah, yeah, Thanksgiving. I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. To be honest, my life is pretty much the same every single day. There's not really much difference. I haven't I haven't done anything for holidays in a long time. It's just as played out that way. Things have worked out though. I hope that you all had a good Thanksgiving. It's generally a time you don't have to work, so that's nice, right? Just above 50. That's crazy. Well, I'm glad you got your bow. That's really wonderful. So, basically, the problem I encountered earlier, and I'm actually really glad because I was going to debug and try and figure out what was wrong on stream, but I didn't have to because I figured out what was wrong right before I started. So, basically, I need to remove all of this real quick. I should do it this way. Yeah, the whole World Serpent's only 3,000 pieces. Pretty crazy, to be honest. You can stretch something across the entire Valheim world. Tens of thousands of meters. And it's 3,000 instances. Nuts. Oh, yeah, I didn't delete all these. Okay. So this is basically what I'm testing, but I can already see that I messed up the numbers here, and a lot of these were spawned inside the World Serpent. So basically, the World Serpent is too boring. It needs more variety, and because there's so few instances, probably can get away with making some kind of, basic custom biome that has these floating rocks. So if we follow this, it should change based on the biome that we're in. So I won't actually follow this too long because I already see a bunch of things I need to change in the script. I'm just trying to make sure that the part that changes it, like once we get to the Black Forest or Deep North or something, they should look different. Like it'll use different rocks, basically. I guess I can just follow it this way. I know, we'll get to the Deep North soon. May as well follow it. You can imagine how a path going through here, what I'm going for is that these are kind of like this. Well, obviously not with one like right there, but... So they're like floating around and they give something for players to like build onto or mine if they want to. And maybe I'll adjust it so that whenever they mine stone in this situation, it's like turned to iron. So they can just mine these things and get iron. I'll figure it out. But they should start turning into a different prefab here. And if they don't, that means another thing I need to adjust. I guess maybe it's still considering it the ocean. But once it actually goes over the deep north land... What? That's funny. Once it goes over the deep north land, then it should actually change into ice. If it doesn't, that means that the script I made isn't working. So maybe it's firing too fast and they're not getting like swapped properly. Yeah, like here they should be something different, but there's still the Rockport coast. Fish says all Enigma players have a person to be grateful for, and that's yeah, I think everybody I appreciate that, Fish. That's great. Yeah, happy holidays to everybody. I guess now it's like the holidays, right? I noticed that suddenly there's a bunch of Valheim live streams I have scheduled and things and community stuff happening, and I'm like, huh? Ah, yes, holidays. People aren't working as much, so now they have time to live and play and do what they want. I hope for everyone's sake that someday we live in a world where people have more time to do the things they enjoy, genuinely. Then there would be more things like Enigma, to be honest, because Enigma is just what happens when a human has a lot of time to spend on something that they love, and you know, you all support me a lot, and that's changed my life because I didn't used to have much support at all, or at least I perceived that I didn't. So now at least I have you know, a whole community of people who want me to work on the project, and that's really motivated me, especially when I feel sad or, you know, like something else in life doesn't matter. It's like, at least I can mess around on Enigma and add some new things or change something. So now what I want to figure out is why are these only spawning as this type? Okay, I want to explain everything that's going on, but they're supposed to like spawn as one thing and then flip to something else based on the biome that they're spawning in, except they're all spawning as if they're in like the ocean or something. So I need to look for this data in the project, and here, no, this is the wrong one. Here. No. Also wrong one. There's a lot of references to things. I'll find it eventually. Ah, no, I think this is the right spot, isn't it? Yeah, okay. But this is a backup? Yeah, of course. Okay, so I need to be in the main Enigma Mode script, but then I need to find this in the portal section, which is down here. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So, it spawns these things, and then there's another entry somewhere that reacts to these skulls by... Ah, yes, here we go. Okay. When this skull is created in this position, it's going to do this. The minimum Z here. I see. So it's not based on biome. Why did I do it that way? Well, I guess I'll change it, and then if there's consequences, I'll just have to live with that. Let's see. Biomes. Okay, everything with max X, negative. This is deep north, I think. Nah, I need to look at this and remember how it works. I have this wiggling feeling that there was a reason that I used the coordinates. But why was it? I don't know. For now, I'll just label it. Okay, the first one, minimum Z of 77,400. That would mean that the script only happens when it's in the deep north area. Okay, so this one's deep north. Then it's not just 1 for 1. So probably these two are both deep north. Yeah, now we have min Z 7400, but then max Z negative. See, in my head, these are like the same thing. And instinctually, I think about it that way, you know, because it's the opposite and then another opposite. You know what I mean? This is where the scripting logic gets me confused. I won't even get into how many times I had to redo these kind of things to get the spirals and all of that to happen how they're supposed to. Like, holy shit, that was frustrating. Okay. I think I know what to do for now. For now, I'm actually just gonna comment out this whole section. And I'm gonna make a version that I know what it is, because I'm making it right now. If I work on something that I haven't touched recently, like, even though I know I wrote it, if it's been like a couple weeks, oof, it doesn't feel like I wrote it. So here we're gonna go. Basically, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna make a list of the different biome, and then it's gonna have a different asset that it spawns when one of these special skulls gets created. So this part's gonna change here. And then this part up here, that's gonna be the same. This part here is gonna change here. So I'm making like a template right now. So it's gonna be, what is it? It goes meadows, and then we have black forest, swamps, ocean, mountain, plain, mistlands, ashlands, deep north. Okay. I think that's everything. Okay, so now I messed that up a little bit. Whatever. Just gonna do it this way. Sorry, I know I'm doing a bunch of random stuff without explaining it. Okay, there we go. Meadows, black forest, swamp, ocean. Obviously, the order doesn't really matter. It's just, as long as I remember each one, it's fine. Okay. Now let's just fill the rest of these out here. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Now I need a tool. Let's go into Halawa's tool here. But before we do that, actually, I should make a new world, because I just generated everything. And that's gonna make it look like there's more rocks than there actually will be. So I need to make sure I'm doing it with a fresh start. And that won't really matter, because we can do this while that's happening. Okay, cool. So let's first look for a prefab in the Ashlands. We're gonna go over here. I get a chance to sip my tea. Bum, 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 bum. This is a tool that Hallow made, and it's got a lot of really useful features actually for script writing. But the thing I'm about to use it for is to look at the prefabs that are in the game and have a visualization, like a little icon and a list you can just scroll through. That way you can like quickly kind of gauge which prefab you want to use because you can see the color. In the other databases, you just see the text, so it's harder to visualize. You have to actually spawn it, and that can be rather time consuming. But probably this is going to be like Cliff 4, or it's like Cliff Ashlands 4, something like that. I'm struggling right now. Let's see. Maybe Jotun's faster right now. Bum, 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 bum. Cliff. Yeah, here we go. I guess I'll just pick random assets and then we'll see how they look later. This part, it doesn't really matter because I'm trying to figure out the logic. Makes sense? So, bum, bum, bum. Nope, nope, nope. Mistlands, okay. Fifth Mistlands 2. Now, plains. I think this one's Heath. I think, right? I could actually do the Heath right. You know, I'll just do that. That'll probably look pretty funny. Let's see how it is. Mountain ones. Which ones? I think it's like rock 3. It's the pointy one. I'll use the pointy one. Bump it, bump it, bump. Oh, nope. There we go. Ocean. I guess just rock. It's like rock 4 hearth, something like that. Rock 4 heath? No, coast. Yeah, that's the ocean one. Okay. I'll just make the ocean and the... Nah, I should make all the biomes different. No, there's not going to be any swamp ones. Yeah, that doesn't really matter. I didn't even think about that, actually. There's not going to be any swamp. There's not going to be any meadows. In this specific case, that never happens, because there's not meadows at the edge of the world like that. There is Black Forest, there is Deep North, there is Ocean, there is Mountain. There's no plains. There is Mistlands. And there is Ashlands. Okay, now this is probably more accurate. Boom, boom, boom. Nice. So now we just need something for the Black Forest and something for the Deep North. Alright, well, definitely ice. It's like ice 3, ice 4, ice rock. No, what is it again? Rock 3, ice? Yeah, there we go. Okay, this is going to be the Deep North. Nope. Then I'll just pick some random one here. Let's go with Rock 7. I don't even know what Rock 7 is. I'm just going to pick it as the Black Forest one. Okay. Are we good? So in theory, now that I've done this, when I actually go into the world, instead of placing the same rocks across the whole world, Serpent, it's going to change them when it goes into a different biome. This is going to be the beginning of, basically what I'm going to attempt to do is create a custom biome that exists along the world Serpent's back that is comprised of various floating rocks and probably some verdure and some other things. It's going to be designed to accommodate getting resources to the player. So right now I'm toying with the idea of something that automatically converts the rocks that you mine into iron. I'm not sure about that yet, but we'll see in a moment. I could just put that in right now, actually. Let's put it in with that other experimental thing. Yeah, here we go. I fixed the first boat mechanic, by the way. Now it works properly. I found out that if you just drop it, like if you spawn it way, way up in the sky, then it just falls dramatically to the ground. And if it hits the ground the ground is curved in a direction that then makes the boat bounce to the water. It's hilarious. Like, it worked every time I tried it. Maybe I just got lucky, but it was really funny. Not gonna worry about that for now, though. So, yeah, I'm just making a very simple script right now. It's gonna be for stone. Whenever the stone item drop is produced, so create, and then how do we know it's on the world serpent? I could do an objects filter, but I try not to use those too much. In this case, it probably doesn't matter. But yeah, I'll just use a minimum Y. So the world serpent is going to be, I think it spawns at like 130, something like that. So for now, I'm just going to do it like this, and then max distance 9,000. What is it? No, it's like 9,000. I think it's like 9,950 or 9,970 is where the world serpent is. Either way, this will be good enough for now for my testing. So whenever stone is created and it's not player made, sorry about the sound effects, Enigma just loaded fully. So whenever the stone is created and it's not player made, so that means filter player, no, has picked up. I can never remember what my actual thing here is. Ah, I can just set it that way. Yeah, I can just use a one-liner. Int picked up 0. Okay. So this will only get triggered by stone that hasn't been picked up. That means if a player puts stone in their inventory and throws it, nothing's going to happen. So this will allow the player to mine things, and the server will convert it to whatever we want. Make sense? So we're going to do remove true, and then it's going to spawn, just to start, iron scrap, okay? Or scrap iron. Or nope, other way. Iron scrap, okay? And then we're going to do, like, data, or int, stack, and then just, like, 2. Something like that. Probably fine. Okay. So that'll make it so when we mine our rocks from the world serpent, that's going to happen. But I still need to spawn the world serpent. So I have a dev command here to just, I think it's bring world serpent. There we go. So I can just make it happen. Don't need to do all the path stuff. Okay, so the world serpent spawned here, and it's now like cycling around the world, okay? And it's gonna go that way, come wrap around. No, it's going this way, coming down. So probably I can go right there and find it. Oh, I didn't change the... One second. I'm gonna pause this. I need to make sure that I adjust the world serpent's rock spawners so that they're not spawning too close. Because what was happening earlier, they were basically spawning inside the serpent and without enough variety. So all of that is handled by this stuff here. It looks like what I need to do is adjust these numbers. So we're going to go from negative 10. We're going to double the minimum and then make the maximum like negative 50. These are like the smaller outcomes. They're uncommon, more minor. These are the ones we actually see, the really hyper-populated ones. So we're going to go for... Oh, I've been having problems with my mouse keeps like double clicking because it isn't stable. And I keep like moving somewhere else. I need to just fix it. Okay. Now we're going to make this even more intense. This is going to be like negative 30 to to negative 100. Okay. Now let's follow this. You see what I was saying? I love it. There's something about the carve just falling out of the sky and possibly hitting you. That is perfect. It's so fitting. And now it actually just works once, see? Yeah, I just had to debug it a little bit. Let's clear the environment here. Okay, it looks like something's wrong. I see no serpent. This could be what was happening earlier. Interesting. Ah, there we go. Yeah, okay, this is the issue I was having. Okay, so basically it normally just runs fine, right? But I changed something recently. And now whenever I try and like do too much stuff, it just stops. So the thing I just changed, I don't think is what actually caused this. But this is what I wanted to show in the stream, is like how you debug when you have these crazy scripts, like these spaghetti scripts that I work with. Basically, now I gotta figure out like, alright, which part of this is causing this to happen? So first off, can I reproduce this? So let's get rid of these. Let's clear all this stuff. Okay, now if I make it happen again. Okay, so 2 of them show up. Alright. What about again? Looks like 3 of them are showing up, and then something's happening that's causing them to not occur. Which is probably, I have too many like things happening on things happening on things happening, and it's like skipping in that moment. But it could also just be I have some... Oh no, of course. Yeah, I re-enabled this whole thing, which messed everything up. Okay, I see what it is now. Basically, what I was trying to explain earlier is that I have to make it know where in the world it is so it marks itself so that I can then teleport the player there later, okay? But the act of checking each time to see where it is in the world is resource intensive, so it can bog it up, right? And basically, these things here are like mathematically right, but because of the reality of checking for all the conditions each time, it just hasn't really worked. And I need it to work very quickly. So basically I have to simplify it and figure out some other way to do it. So probably I'll have the World Serpent generate, and then afterwards I'll just have it, how do I put it? I'll label it afterwards. I'll find like a label at a certain spot. I'll find some way to do what I want after the fact. But for now, we see all of this loop stuff here, right? So basically, I have to go everything where the fallback is. We're going to go all the way above. And then we're just going to do this. Okay. That's going to disable the part of the script that's causing it to choke up. So next time I run it, it's going to work. But I don't want to run it wrong. Now I want to make sure that when it runs, it actually tests the thing I'm really trying to test, which is this rock cluster chance thing here. But we're also going to add this part so that it actually marks the map properly. Oh. Okay, now let me make sure I didn't comment out the back end of this poke. Which I did right here. Okay. Okay, that'll happen. Good. Guess this should realistically go like right here. Now, I adjusted the rocks already. So let's see how that goes. It should be good. I should be able to just start it now. Let's see what happens. Whoa. Whoa. That's pretty cool. Now you can start to see what I'm going for. That worked way better than... I struggled so much and then it just worked. God damn. Pretty cool. Sometimes the assets work really well. Like, to be honest, the Michelin stuff looks quite good when it floats. A lot of the other stuff in the beginning of the game, I guess maybe because the developers, they were still like newer at that point, right? So if you use things from the Meadows or the Black Forest, often the underside looks pretty janky. But this stuff looks great. I'm trying to... Are these upside down? Did they get flipped? Because technically this thing I'm on is upside down. So when it spawns something, it will also flip it over. I think. But hey, look at that. Look. You see? We're in the Michelin, so it's that asset. And then we're over here. So now it's a different one. Now that part is working properly. Yeah, funny too. It's still less than a couple hundred instances. Well, this is definitely... I mean, don't get me wrong. It needs a lot more polish. It definitely needs more things to happen here. But this is a promising direction. I want it to be a little bit more... have more variety, though. So there's areas that seem vacant and areas that are, like, full of rocks, right? So I can already tell I need to change the... Mommy outcome, many outcome. I need to change the weights or the chances. So the single outcome, I can probably reduce everything, let's say by half, and then adjust the relative ratio. So we're gonna go with something like this. Okay, but now I want there to be more vacant areas, less crazy situations here. So I'm actually going to do it even more. And do this one even more. So there's going to be these kind of sparse areas. But sometimes there's going to have... or there'll be a bunch of them. Like loads and loads and loads of them. Because I think what the World Serpent needs is it needs to feel like there's more variety. So certain areas feel different, right? Look at that. That looks so funny. Look at that. Now I want to see what the Ashlands looks like. This is hilarious. Yeah, so it does. It flips the assets over. That's hilarious because I didn't do that on purpose. It just because I'm spawning it from something that is flipped over, everything gets flipped over. Right? So obviously these are just placeholders, but it is pretty comical. I dig it. Now when you actually are a player, and this is an important mistake not to make when you're developing. It's easy to just like make sure you can see everything and keep it daylight all the time, but the player doesn't see that. So what the player will actually see is something more like this. They'll basically be constantly experiencing the intense weather effects. And the Ashlands is actually, I think it's the coolest part of the World Serpent. Because the lighting's all like trippy and like it feels very atmospheric. There's a bunch of like lightning that is close to this layer. So it can look really cool. Like, see how it is over there. Now, I changed the ratios. Okay, there we go. I changed the ratios, but the Serpent had already generated everything. So what you're seeing is the previous ratio, but this is what I'm going for. You see how there's like only a few of the assets, and then suddenly there's like a forest of them. There's a bunch of them, and then there's only a few. Then there's an area with a bunch of them, right? That's what I'm going for. I want like variety so that the World Serpent itself isn't just this long stretch of nothing, right? But if you look at our instance count, we still like have yet to ever pass like 400 at the most. So probably we could actually play around a lot with these kind of floating vegetations. Obviously there's going to be things that'll look way cooler than some upside down spikes everywhere. Definitely liking this kind of random distribution though. It works well to have these 3 different parts. Let's see what it looks like in the deep north. I think it'll look better there. Hey, it actually marks the World Serpent now too. Nice, that looks pretty good. I guess like I could make it a little bit more consistent. Maybe like triple it. The thing is, I don't want to load their map up with like thousands of pins, you know what I mean? I guess I could probably double it. Maybe that's good enough. Where is that part? Right here, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, even just this, that's like going to be like 300 pins. Whatever, it's fine. So let's go over here. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, nice. Definitely promising. Not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm glad it turned out that it's just this part here is messing everything up. I'm like using too many different filters probably. It's odd though, because it was working, and then it just stopped working, like completely, so I must have done something that complicated it without realizing it. Now it's just a matter of figuring out like what patterns make this enjoyable to build on. How does the building like gathering feel? Let's see how that goes actually. I should be able to mine one of these rocks and then it should like turn into iron. Nope. Let's see. Oh, 9,600. I see, I see. Alright. This is no good. Okay, let's try that again. This is just proof of concept. I want to see, can I just convert one drop into another, right? So far, not working. Let's make double sure I'm in the right place here. We have 9,600 or 9,700 basically. Then 175 Y. Min Y 110. Not picked up. Oh, max distance. Here we go. That's my mistake. It's supposed to be min distance. Now it'll work. Whoa. Ayo. Haha, look at that. Iron. Haha. I think this will help. Because it looks like one of the main things, like, players can, for the most part, get everything they need just by, like, building, right? Or by trading on Enigma Mode. But I have a feeling, like, making some kind of fun mechanic that they can only do on the World Serpent that specifically helps them get iron. I think that'd be pretty cool. I mean, it's just look how it all just falls like that. Ah, it's pretty cool. I dig it. I dig it. And then that also gives me a lot of freedom because what you saw is just converting it to iron, but I could change it so that, like, depending on the biome, it's something else. And I could, like, give certain biomes different flavor in doing that. Makes sense? So, like, maybe it's iron normally, but then sometimes it's iron and some fine wood. Other times it's iron and some ash wood. Other times it's something else, right? Because then we can create a loop, basically, where the player mines the rocks, the rock respawns, and the resources just fall down onto the World Serpent. Makes sense? As you just saw. So we could make a meta where they can farm building resources on the World Serpent itself. So while they still have the ability to teleport the material up to the World Serpent, I want to make sure that there's many ways that they can acquire building resources. That's really what's important. Hey Ping, welcome, welcome. Yes, World Serpent abuse, basically. Well, I guess in this case, I'm the one who got abused. I got killed. Surprise, surprise. But basically, I'm working on the World Serpent's biome because at first it's just a path, right? But by adding spawns to it, we can trigger it into making a biome, essentially. But this is going to take a lot of iteration. And so now what I'm imagining, I'm just kind of testing. Like, I made a script so that whenever the player creates stone by mining, it gets converted, right, into scrap iron. And because these things are, like, floating up in the air, right, it makes a dynamic where the stuff falls. And I think that's really hilarious, to be honest. And then because of the rock respawning system, the player could just pick a rock, and as long as there's nothing built nearby, they'll just do this, right? Blah, blah, blah. And then after, like, 5 minutes, it'll just delete itself and come back. So I'm pretty sure that'll be really interesting. And then I fixed these things, so now we can't mine them and destroy everything. That's another point of progress, right? So first concern at the moment, I gotta figure out, like, probably what kinds of variety for each rock look nice. What kinds of things encourage building, right? Because the idea with this biome, so to speak, this World Serpent layer, is it's all about building. There's no fighting or anything like that. So pretty much the player needs to be able to acquire resources, they need to be able to spend resources, they need to be able to build, and they need to be encouraged to build. And I think Narsha brought up an interesting point in the Discord. They were talking about having mounts here. And there are some really powerful mounts that players don't really get a hold of because they can only get it through like one coin trader. So probably there's a way to make that all work up here. So Ping says, it would be nice to be able to mine the World Serpent for something with an appropriate skill level. No, you can't mine the World Serpent. What are you talking about? If you mine this thing, then people just destroy it. Then there's holes in the path, and then I have to deal with the holes in the path. Nah. You can mine the things above it. I can't really do anything special. I can give people things that are already in the game, right? Like the flame metal old, right? Flame metal old, is that right? How is it? Oh no, it's meteor. What is it? Magic. Do you remember what the flame metal is? The old one? I don't remember. But I also can't really give them flame metal, to be honest, because like I know people want a better way to get flame metal, but the moment I do that, I then invalidate getting it from the Ashlands, and that's already like not something that gives you a lot of it, if that makes sense. So I'm probably never going to give people flame metal. I'm more likely to make the existing ways of getting it in the Ashlands more viable, because I'm into the concept that flame metal's from the Ashlands, and you gotta go there if you really want a lot of it, but you can get little bits of it everywhere else. But really, I see no reason to give people metal other than iron in this case, because I found that like when I did the Plains Goblin rework and I added a bunch of loot, it's important that things have a sense of identity. And when you start dropping like a 5% of this and this and this and this, and the player gets used to getting a mixture of things, it just doesn't really feel right. Like I don't know how to explain it properly, but what I do now is I focus on like, okay, you get this, and this, maybe 2 things, not like 4 or 5. Makes sense. So that's why I simplify the goblin drops, so you don't get like a bunch of everything else, and mostly what you get from goblins now in the Plains is ashwood. So then it's easier to wrap your head around it. Like, okay, if you want this thing, go here or here or here. You know, instead of just like, oh, anything you do will get you a bit of that, but who knows how much. You know, it's confusing, right? So, it could be possible that it doesn't get destroyed. I'm not against that, to be honest, because you still have to transport it. Although I guess really I've just never looked at respawning those things, right? Because they don't leave anymore. So once they made them stop leaving, then I was like, ah, well now I don't need to respawn them, and I never revisited it, and no one ever brought it up until this moment. So probably there's options for that, but that's a tangent. That's not. I'm not worried about that right now. What I'm figuring out, this worked, the rates for that worked, but in order to get the World Serpent itself to work, I had to get rid of the labeling for it. And by getting rid of the labeling, now the teleports won't work. So I have to figure out how to label it after the fact. Because the teleport works by targeting one of these pieces with a specific piece of data. So it knows, okay, this is in the north, that's in the south, take the player there. Make sense? So I can either make the marking system work, make a new one, or I can try and get the old system to work and figure out why it wasn't working. Probably I messed something up with these, and I made a number not work anymore, And because of that, in a certain outcome, there is no possible outcome, so nothing happens. And I lost track of when I may have done that by mistake, so most likely that's how I messed it up. That being said, how do I just find it? I guess, oh, maybe I'm overthinking it. I'm thinking about finding the labels. But what if I just make the labels hard set? Yeah, that would probably work. So basically, Ping, you're such a pain in the ass sometimes. I'm developing, okay? That's what I'm doing, man. Like, you can comment. I'm not gonna respond too much. Like, if you listened to the stream earlier, I said that today I'm just working on this, and that I'm not gonna be describing stuff as much because I'm just gonna be working, okay? So, like, yeah. And that's why, yeah, I'll just minimize this. You'll just distract me. You can go do something else. Like, don't watch the stream if you don't want to see me develop and not explain everything. Alright. So... okay. Basically... I can do something similar to what I do to actually start the Serpent and get it to spawn in the right place in the first place. If we go to the data here, we can see that you can actually make an object and give it a specific piece of data, or a specific position, so to speak, and then it's going to go there. So... all I need to do is make some labels show up when this occurs. That way, I don't have to do it separately. It's just tied into the same action that causes the World Serpent to spawn in the first place. So, that means that I need to have a label for each skull. So this is going to be a teleport skull. And there's going to be 8 of them. North, east, south, west, and all of the in-betweens. So this part will change, and the position will change, and the rotation... the rotation doesn't matter. It only matters in this original case because it orients the path. But in this case, it's going to tell the player where to teleport to. And the player is going to target that skull. And then they're going to get teleported like 20 meters above it. Something like that. So... okay. For now, we'll just do it like this. Zero everything out. And we need some kind of label. So it's going to be a teleport skull. World Serpent. World Serpent teleport skull. Okay. And then it needs its actual label. Makes sense? And then it's going to be the orientation. No, cardinal direction. Cardinal value. Yeah, fancy. And then that'll be like, oh no, has to be a string, doesn't it? No, okay. I can just do it like that. Yeah, okay. So now I should just be able to get all of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright. Now, north. We're just going to do it pretty simple like this. And then northwest, northwest. North, northwest, northwest. Yeah. I can tell how sometimes it's... It actually makes a difference if you, like, space things out. If you add these little gaps in between each thing, it's a lot easier to figure out where you are and how to work on it. So sometimes I'm in the habit of I'll just paste things and I won't take the time to add those gaps, and it makes it, like, harder to keep track of where you are. So it's an example of one of those things that if you, like, organize a little bit, you can work faster. And then, of course, you could also, like, label everything. But then you get into territory where it's like, okay, now you're labeling everything. You could have just spent that time developing something. So, like, you now one really well-organized feature, but you could have made, like, 7 things. So it's always, like, a give and a take, right? If you do one thing too much, it causes problems, so you have to kind of balance out. North, northwest, northwest. Let's go with west. Boom, boom, boom. Southwest. South. Southeast. East. And northeast. Okay. Should be good now. Okay. So now what I'll need to do is make the actual positions of these teleports. So I have to figure out where I want these things to be. And this system it'll be more reliable than the previous system, because the previous system labeled a whole stretch as, like, the northern section, and then it would teleport the player to the closest piece of that section. So that resulted in a whole bunch of lands difference, so to speak, that the player could get teleported to. This time, it's just going to be one position. So basically, the north, south, east, west ones are going to be really easy, because these are, like, we can just go along this line here, and then look in the top right until we see 0 on the X, right? So right here, our cardinal direction, the exact coordinate, will be here. And then once we find this, we'll get the southern, the east, and the western. Those ones will be easy. And then after that, we can get the northeastern, etc., etc. Those ones are a bit more complicated because they're not, like, on 0 axis, right? So let's see what my current position is. Okay. So it looks like we can go with 60 pass, or 10,060, and then for the skull itself, it can be at 120. But the teleport will need to target above that skull. And that's fine. But we're going to go with 10,060, 120. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. So let's actually start with this. Start with the eastern value. Okay, so we got north. East would be this one here. This would be like 10,060. Okay. So it's X, Y, no, it's XZY or ZXY. Something like that. I don't remember what the actual label is. This one is east, then west would be this one. Then north is going to use the other variable here. So the 0 is going to go on the other side. Like this. And then for the south, it's like this. Okay, and then bum 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 bum. Okay. Let's find the corners now. Bum 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 bum. Here somewhere. So I'm just gonna pick one that looks corner-like. So here we have 72 or 75, 67. That's easy to remember. But if I just flip it, yeah, there's probably some math to find the exact corner. Or the exact halfway point. I don't even know what the right phrase for that is, to be honest. Hey, you know what? I'm done.